What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on EI Entertainment Studios, back at it with another debate episode. Today's debate episode, we're going to be talking about Kong versus Shin Anguirus. Now, here's the plan, folks. We're going to go over the backstories of these two giant creatures and basically analyze all their stats. And once we're done with that, we're going to put them up against each other in a death battle. So without further ado, let's begin with the opponent known as Shin Anguirus. So Shin Anguirus came to existence after a porcupine was blasted with the red body fluid of Shin Godzilla, which has its DNA, and the porcupine was mutated but did not grow large until an evil scientist named Divo took the porcupine and injected it with T-Rex DNA to make it exponentially larger. And the Shin DNA activated, and it made it even larger with superior abilities. So that's the backstory of Shin Anguirus. Now, the height of Shin Anguirus is actually only 90 meters tall because he is a 4-footed creature, meaning he walks on 4 feet. Therefore, his length is going to be the big one. So, as I said, the height is only 90 meters, which is, again, not too small, but not really big as well, especially compared to King Ghidorah in the Monsterverse. The length is 387 meters long. Super, super long, right? Now, continuing, for abilities, we're going to do a quick skim, and then we'll come back to them, so do not worry. First, we have Spike Blast, Rolling Thunder, Flesh Split, Regeneration, Adaptation, Fuse Focused Laser Blast. Territorial level is medium, aggression level is indeed maximum. Biome is unlimited, and I'll explain that in the abilities. So without further ado, let's go back to the abilities and let's do a deep analysis. So first we have the Spike Blast. This comes from Shin DNA, and all the small thorns, or you can say spikes, on the back of Anguirus, like the porcupine-like covering, are able to shoot lasers. So assuming there's around 5,000-6,000 of those thorns or spikes on the back of Anguirus, in this case Shin Anguirus, all those spikes are able to shoot lasers. And he can do rolling lasers, which is the next ability, which is called the Rolling Thunder. So he can go basically form into a ball, shoot his lasers, and roll around towards his opponent, with those lasers blasting the opponent and then finally getting a giant impact by hitting the opponent with the blast and his physical body as well. So that's the Rolling Thunder. After that, we have the Flesh Split, meaning that Shin Anguirus can actually split its heads into two and become two Shin Anguiruses with one body, therefore doubling the abilities of whatever it has. And that's only done in an emergency mode where it loses about 50% of its health. That's the only time it can do Flesh Split. It also has Regeneration. Of course, he can regenerate because he has Shin DNA. And remember, Shin Godzilla's DNA can actually regenerate health, so Shin DNA in Shin Anguirus can indeed regenerate. Now, this also comes to the evolutionary adaptation, which is the next ability. Therefore, that's why his biome is unlimited, because we know that Shin Godzilla changes forms. And I'm not mistakenly using the name. I'm actually talking about Shin Godzilla right now, not Shin Anguirus, to make my point across. In the film Shin Godzilla, we see him take on multiple forms. And the reason why he takes on forms is so he can fit the environment. He can evolve and adapt to fit the environment. So, who is to say he can't evolve and adapt to breathe into space, or breathe in water, and all that? And I know he can breathe in water, but I'm just using that as an example. And the same thing comes to Shin Anguirus. With the Shin DNA, he can evolve and adapt to breathe and live in any environment. Therefore, the biome is indeed unlimited. And finally, we have the fuse-focused laser blast. So meaning, he can get, obviously he has a laser from his mouth, and the lasers from his back. He can all combine them into one focused laser and shoot them at the opponent, a very focused laser that's going to just literally cut through them. That's very, very powerful. That's one of the most powerful abilities that he has. That's gonna sum up Shin Anguirus. Let's move on into Kong. So Kong, or known as the King of Skull Island, is a giant super species of ape that has grown to immense size. From Kong Skull Island, where Kong was only an infant, he has now fully grown, making himself equal to Godzilla. Or we should say, nearly equal. Having super intelligent abilities and massive strength makes him a super threat to any Titan. Now abilities, let's do a quick skim. We have unmatched agility, super intelligence, able to jump anywhere, super fast, death punch, Godzilla dorsal plate axe. Territorial level is maximum, aggression level is maximum, biome is earth, and height is approximately 102 meters tall. Let's go back to the abilities then. The unmatched agility obviously comes because Kong is a giant ape, and I don't care what you compare it to any Titan, he is the most agile Titan of all. And yes, I will agree that in the last Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla's agility was incredibly fast and incredibly good, but it was still unmatched to Kong's ability and Kong's agility in having that ability. So Kong still is unmatched in agility. He is a giant, fast primate. Now, obviously, Kong is the most intelligent Titan as well, being super intelligent, being able to communicate with humans through sign language, and that shows how intelligent this creature is, including to plan and ambush and all that good stuff. So he is very, very wise. Also, this kind of ties into unmatched agility. He is able to jump anywhere very quickly, from building to rocks to to anything. If the trees are big enough to hold him, he'll do that as well. So he can jump anywhere, making his opponents feel very dizzy, right? Also, he's super fast, meaning he can run really fast and act fast and attack fast. Basically, everything he does is very fast. Also, he has something called a death punch. We all know that Kong is gigantic and has huge muscles, and if he gets the right hit and the right uppercut, he can potentially kill an opponent with the amount of power he has in his arms, and that is called the death punch. And he obviously has the Godzilla dorsal plate axe from his ancestors, and the only way it can actually work to its full potential if he gets Godzilla's atomic breath to get basically sucked into the axe, and it basically blasts off when it hits an opponent. But he needs specifically legendary Godzilla's atomic breath, and no other Godzilla can do this. But unless that doesn't happen, he can obviously stab his opponents with the axe. Now, we went over everything basically. I was gonna say the Territorial, but we went over that. And that basically sums up Kong, and we already talked about Shin Anguirus. So let's go ahead and let's put these two giant monsters to the death battle, and what we've all been waiting for. So we're gonna go far range and close range, basically best out of two. The reason why I do far range is to test the opponents out at limited levels of abilities. They're obviously not going to have some abilities able to use, so we're trying to see if some abilities are limited, can they still win a fight? And then close range, basically, is just all-out war. So far range and close range. Okay. So let's see what abilities Shin Anguirus can or cannot use in terms of far range, and the rules are they have to be 700 meters apart. That obviously means there is absolutely no physical contact in this instant, because they are 700 meters apart. Alright, perfect. So now let's see what abilities each can or cannot use. So Spike Blast is an atomic laser, and it's meant to go far distances. So yes, that is okay. Rolling Thunder is only able to be used if he rolls around the opponent and not to him, because remember, there is absolutely no physical contact in this instance, right? Okay, perfect. Flesh Split can be used, does not matter on how far he is from the opponent, absolutely does not matter. Regeneration has nothing to do with that as well, so we already talked about that. Adaptation, nothing to do about how far he is. Fuse Focus Laser Blast can also be used. So he potentially can use almost all, if not all, his abilities in terms of offense. And he can, quite frankly, defend himself as well in defense. So now, let's see what Kong can use. So unmatched agility has nothing to do with distance, so that's fine. Super intelligence, that's also fine as well. Obviously, no problems with that whatsoever. Able to jump anywhere as long as he's not physically jumping on the opponent. Super fast, don't worry about that. Death Punch, that's the one he cannot use because Death Punch needs and demands physical contact. And the Godzilla dorsal plate axe can only be used if it's thrown. Cannot hit the opponent. So, in a battle of far distance, I personally see Kong being more calm. So I see Shin Anguirus being the first one to attack, and by saying attack, I mean him using the Spike Blast. And that obviously is going to do some, if not a lot of damage to Kong, because Kong's is flesh. He's big, but again, he's not like scaly or has armor on him. He is just pure flesh, and the Spike Blast is going to do a lot of damage to him, including the Rolling Thunder, but specifically to be focused, it's going to be the Spike Blast. Now Kong here is in a bit of a bad situation because he has no atomic laser abilities, and his axe, assuming that he throws that, is going to penetrate Shin Anguirus, but that's it. It's not going back, it's not a boomerang or anything like that. So one time hit, damage done, Shin Anguirus is going to pull that thing out and throw it to the ground. And now Kong is absolutely vulnerable, and there is absolutely nothing he can do. And dude, if he uses, I'm talking about Shin Anguirus, uses the Fuse Focus Laser Blast with the Spike Blast back to back, I'm sorry folks, and I'm sorry all Kong fans, but Kong is an absolute goner, and he is going to be fried roast monkey with blood everywhere and bones flying all over the place. It's going to be a very gruesome scene, and therefore Shin Anguirus is going to win in terms of far range. Alright, now let's talk about close range. We've all been waiting for the good one. All Out War. Let's take into consideration. Kong is a bit taller than Shin Anguirus, standing at 102 meters tall, and Anguirus is 90 meters tall. But Shin Anguirus is 387 meters long. Now that's gonna cause a commotion. That's way too long. And that's gonna be a problem because he can spike him, he can tail whip him, and quite frankly, he's huge. And it's gonna cause a lot of power to cause him to take damage from, obviously, Kong. So, speaking about that, I think Kong is going to be basically no good in trying to ram into Shin Anguirus because he's just way too long, is planted way too steadily and weighs too much. So he's going to have to jump around. Then with the axe, he's going to be able to basically stab Shin Anguirus by jumping everywhere, but it's going to have some issues because the plate is basically going to protect him. So he has to get on the face or the hands or and the tail to even cause any sort of damage. And, you know, even if he tries that at one point, Shin Anguirus is going to notice that and it's going to just roll into a ball and perform the Rolling Thunder. So if the rolling doesn't get Kong, the Rolling Thunder's lasers will. And again, because of that, I just don't see Kong being a winner here. And therefore, I just see Shin Anguirus winning 2-0. Obviously, this is just my opinion, though. You can debate me in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great and wonderful day.